Good morning. Welcome to News for Hearing Impaired. I am Anil Thomas. With me, Meera, this morning. First up, the headlines. In a big boost to fight against COVID-19, government grants exemption from basic custom duty and Health Cess on the import of ventilators, face and surgical masks, PPE and COVID-19 test kits. Centre approves COVID-19 emergency response and health system preparedness package. 100% financial aid. Economic package will help states procure essential medical equipment and medicines. 15,000 crore to be given in 3 phases from Jan 2020 to March 2024. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases in India goes up to 5,865. 169 people have lost their lives due to the pandemic so far. 477 people discharged after successful treatment. Centre dispatches 10 high-level teams to 9 states to enhance cooperation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's efforts to collaborate with countries around the world on COVID-19 continue. Prime Minister talks over phone with the President of South Korea and Uganda. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanks Prime Minister for sending chloroquine to Israel. Police maintaining strict vigil in sealed areas in Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Movement of people stopped. Authorities ensure door-to-door delivery of essential items in such areas. Delhi government running Operation Shield in hotspot areas. Number of new cases rises rapidly in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Maharashtra has the highest count of COVID-19 patients. Death of corona-infected doctor in Indore of Madhya Pradesh. Odisha extends the duration of lockdown till April 30th. Many states make wearing masks compulsory. The war against corona continues in the world. Nearly 1.6 million people infected. More than 95,000 people killed. US records 1,783 virus deaths in the past 24 hours. United Kingdom's Prime Minister Boris Johnson out of ICU but remains in hospital. IMF says over 170 countries are expected to see negative per capita income growth this year. UN Security Council meets over coronavirus. Well, now for the stories in detail. Considering the immediate requirement of ventilators and other items, the central government has granted exemption from basic custom duty and health cess on the import of some goods with immediate effect. These goods include ventilators, face masks, surgical masks, personal protection equipment or PPE, COVID-19 testing kits and input for manufacture of the above items. The basic custom duty exemption shall be available up to the 30th of September this year. India imports about 80% of its medical device requirement. At present, health cess on medical equipment is 5% over and above the custom duty of 7.5%. The total duty varies between 11 and 22% depending on the product. The centre has approved a comprehensive package to provide assistance to the states in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. This package, called COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health System Preparedness Package. The 100% centrally funded scheme aimed at enhancing the infrastructure in the states to meet the coronavirus epidemic challenge. The package is called the India COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health System Preparedness Package. Under it, the government has sanctioned 15,000 crore rupees for India COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health System Preparedness Package. Of the funds sanctioned, 7,774 crores will be utilized for immediate COVID-19 emergency response and the rest for medium-term support. The project will be implemented in 3 phases. Phase 1 from January 2020 to June 2020. Phase 2 from July 2020 to March 2021. Phase 3 from April 2021 to March 2024. The key objectives: include mounting emergency response to slow and limit COVID-19 through the development of diagnostics and COVID-19 dedicated treatment facilities, centralized procurement of essential medical equipment and drugs required for the treatment of infected patients, strength and to build resilient national and state health systems to support the prevention and preparedness for future disease outbreaks, setting up of laboratories to help better surveillance activities, biosecurity, preparedness, pandemic research, proactively engage communities and conduct risk communication activities. Prime Minister in his address to the nation on the 24th of March highlighted that the central government has provisioned 15,000 crore rupees for creating coronavirus patients and strengthening the medical infrastructure of the country.
अब कोरोना के मरीजों के इलाज के लिए देश के हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को और मजबूत बनाने के लिए केंद्र सरकार ने आज 15,000 करोड़ रुपए का प्रावधान किया है। इससे कोरोना से जुड़ी टेस्टिंग फैसिलिटीज, पर्सनल प्रोटेक्टिव इक्विपमेंट्स, आइसोलेशन बेड्स, आईसीयू बेड्स, वेंटिलेटर्स और अन्य जरूरी साधनों की संख्या तेजी से बढ़ाई जाएगी। साथ ही मेडिकल और पैरामेडिकल मैन पावर की ट्रेनिंग का काम भी किया जाएगा। मैंने राज्य सरकारों से अनुरोध किया है कि इस समय सभी राज्यों की पहली प्राथमिकता सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्वास्थ्य सेवाएं ही होनी चाहिए, हेल्थ केयर ही प्राथमिकता होनी चाहिए।
As on date, a total of 223 labs comprising of a network of 157 government and 66 private laboratories are conducting a rigorous screening process. Furthermore, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has already disbursed 4,113 crores to all states and union territories for dealing with the emergency COVID response. A high-level meeting of the group of ministers on COVID-19 was held in New Delhi under the chairmanship of Dr. Harshvardhan, Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare. The group of ministers had detailed deliberation on the containment and management of COVID-19. Several other measures about strengthening the capacity of states, including devoting adequate resources for creating dedicated COVID-19 hospitals, equipping the medical institutes with PPEs, ventilators and other essential equipments, etc., were also discussed in detail. GOM also reviewed the testing strategy and availability of testing kits across the country, along with the strategy for hotspots and cluster management. GOM was appraised regarding the adequacy and availability of PPEs, masks, ventilators, drugs and other essential equipment against the requirement. GOM was informed that domestic manufacturers have been identified for production of PPEs and orders have been placed. In addition, orders for ventilators have been placed. GOM was briefed about the number of public and private labs presently testing for COVID-19, along with the number of tests that are being conducted every day through this network of labs. The centre has prepared teams to coordinate with the states and crucial aspects of logistical and infrastructure support in the fight against COVID-19. The government has also said that supplies of PPEs, masks and ventilators have now begun. 20 domestic manufacturers in India have been roped in to make the PPEs, and orders for 1.7 crore PPEs have been placed. According to the centre, the supplies have already begun. Apart from that, the government has also placed orders for 49,000 ventilators. The government has also said that there is no need to panic as far as availability of essential equipment is concerned. Indian Council of Medical Research ICMR has devised a new strategy for COVID-19 testing in India and in hospitals or cluster and in large migration gatherings or evacuee centers. The new strategy for COVID-19 testing in India include all symptomatic individuals who have undertaken international travel in the last 14 days and all symptomatic contacts of laboratory confirmed cases. It also includes all symptomatic healthcare workers and all patients with severe acute respiratory illness like fever, cough and shortness of breath. Asymptomatic, direct and high-risk contacts of a confirmed case should be tested once between day 5 and day 14 of coming in his or her contact. In hotspots or cluster defined by Health and Family Welfare Ministry and in large migration gatherings or evacuee centers, all symptomatics having fever, cough, sore throat and runny nose will be tested in real-time polymerase chain reaction, that's real-time reverse polymerase chain reaction or RT-PRC within 7 days of illness. After 7 days of illness, antibody tests will be done if RT-PCR confirmed it negative. The number of active COVID-19 cases in the country now stands at 5,218 according to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. 169 people have lost their lives to the disease and as many as 477 people have been cured and discharged while one has migrated. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his decision to approve the supply of hydroxychloroquine to Israel. This comes after US President Donald Trump and Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro took to their official handle on Twitter to thank Prime Minister for lifting the ban on the export of the anti-malaria drug that is proving to be effective in treating of COVID-19 infection. Netanyahu in a tweet said, "Thank you, my dear friend, Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi, for sending chloroquine to Israel. All the citizens of Israel, thank you." Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday spoke on telephone with the President of the Republic of Korea, Moon Jae-in. The two leaders discussed COVID-19 global pandemic and the challenges it posed to the global health systems and economic situation. They shared information about the steps taken in their countries to tackle the pandemic. Prime Minister Modi expressed appreciation for the technology-based response deployed by Korea for managing the crisis. President Moon Jae-in appreciated the way Indian authorities have motivated the vast Indian population for fighting the pandemic with unity of purpose. The Korean president thanked Prime Minister Modi for the support being provided by the Indian authorities to Korean citizens in India. Prime Minister expressed appreciation to the Republic of Korean government for helping the supplies and transport of medical equipment being sourced by Indian companies. The two leaders agreed that their experts would continue to consult each other and share experiences as they research solutions for COVID-19. Prime Minister also had a telephonic conversation with the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The two leaders discussed the health and economic challenges arising out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister assured President Museveni that India stands in solidarity with its friends in Africa during the present health crisis and would extend all possible support to the Ugandan government's efforts in controlling the spread of the virus in its territory. Prime Minister expressed his appreciation for the goodwill and care extended to the Indian diaspora in Uganda by the host government and society, including during the present situation. Both leaders shared the hope that the world would soon prevail over the challenge of COVID-19. With the number of cases of COVID-19 still increasing, government has adopted a cluster control containment strategy. Steps are being taken to prevent the spread of the virus by sealing off identified hotspots. In New Delhi, Operation Shield has been launched to curb the spread of the pandemic. 20 areas have been identified as containment zones in Delhi. These areas have been sealed. People are not being allowed to enter or exit from these areas. With the area under total lockdown, essential supplies will be delivered to homes. The government will conduct rigorous sanitization of the locality. The government has also made it mandatory to wear masks while outside one's home. Similar measures were taken in Uttar Pradesh. Among the 15 districts, 22 specific places in Gautam Budh Nagar were declared hotspots and sealed. Movement within these hotspots is completely restricted, with no one allowed inside or outside. Supply of essential items is the only form of movement allowed in the areas. District Magistrate and Police Commissioner have been visiting the hotspots to take stock of the arrangements themselves. Strict action will be taken against any person violating the sealing orders. The government on its part is taking these measures in large interest of the community and seeks the cooperation of everyone. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has warned district officials that if 100% sealing of hotspots was not carried out, situation would become dangerous not just for them but for the entire district. In a video conferencing with health officials and police officers, the Chief Minister gave out strict directions saying cure of coronavirus lies in discipline. He also directed them to open up L2 level coronavirus hospitals in every district and to undertake containment exercise by taking samples of suspected persons and sending them to labs for testing. He added that sample collection centers must be set up in all districts. He also directed them to ensure that ventilators are fully functional in hospitals and that fire safety must be ensured there. The officials have been asked to ensure medicines, food to those who are quarantined. Yogi Adityanath also urged people to cover face with masks, dupatta or any other cloth when they move out. Meanwhile, the number of new cases are increasing rapidly in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Maharashtra has the highest count of COVID-19 patients. 72 people have lost their lives in Maharashtra, while 117 people have been cured and discharged after treatment. In Madhya Pradesh, a 62-year-old doctor who had tested positive for COVID-19 died in Indore. The victim was a general physician. Authorities have meanwhile sealed Indore, Bhopal and Ujjain districts to control the spread of COVID-19. The Odisha government meanwhile has decided to extend the ongoing lockdown in the state till April 30th to effectively contain the spread of COVID-19. Schools and other educational institutions will remain closed till June 17th. Responding to a call by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the 22 Central and All India Service Association and state associations have joined hands together on a common IT-enabled permanent solution platform, Karuna, to support and supplement the efforts made by the central and state governments in fighting the COVID pandemic. Around 10% of the members currently in the CC WhatsApp group Slack platform are in critical positions in government and are leading relief efforts in their department or field from all across India. The group members play a key role in removing bottlenecks in key areas such as procurement of ventilators, distribution of kits, shelter to migrant workers. Relief to over 4,000 families have been organized so far by Karuna team. The informal association networks are exchanging real-time bottlenecks to their association members, which are being shared either on WhatsApp or Slack, and corrective action due to the vast human capital in the group is being harnessed to provide solutions to field functionaries. The Karuna online architecture works through creation of various work groups. There are 6 immediate response work groups functioning on Karuna, namely 1 for migration shelter, 2 for migration food and logistics, 3 for migration medicine logistics, 4 healthcare PPE and logistics, 5th healthcare masks, 6th healthcare ventilators, 7 I Got Health. Each channel is headed by a member of Karuna called Lead, with around 4 to 5 core members in support, all working from home purely on voluntary basis, in great camaraderie to ideate, identify, anticipate issues relating to the work group. The channels completely sans any hierarchy and has no service boundaries. The rerun of the famous devotional shows Ramayana and Mahabharata have taken Doordarshan to the top of the television ratings last week. Doordarshan has become the most watched channel in India. According to the Broadcast Audience Research Council of India, that's BARC, Doordarshan's weekly impressions were 156.48 crore. The telecast of Doordarshan's old serials like Shaktiman and Bunyad have also played important role. DD brought back the famous shows on public request as people sit at home quarantine due to the COVID-19 lockdown. The viewership of Doordarshan in the morning and evening segment increased. It is worth noting that in the view of Corona, Doordarshan is re-airing its memorable programs so that people stay at home and enjoy them. The war against Corona continues across the world. Nearly 1.6 million people are infected globally, while more than 95,000 people have been killed due to COVID-19. In the United States alone, more than 15,000 people have died in the coronavirus pandemic. The tally jumped to 15,774 dead, with 4,32,596 cases as the US struggled to combat the spread of the virus. America's coronavirus epicenter of New York recorded a new single-day high of 799 COVID-19 deaths on Thursday. However, Governor Andrew Cuomo said that the rate of hospitalizations continued to fall. The governor said that 799 people died in the last 24 hours, outdoing the previous high of 779 announced on Wednesday, but added that the curve was flattening due to social confinement measures. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been shifted from the intensive care unit after being diagnosed with COVID-19, but he remains under close observation in the hospital. Keir Starmer, the leader of Britain's opposition Labour Party, has wished the country's Prime Minister a speedy recovery. US President Donald Trump also tweeted to express happiness over the recovery of Boris Johnson. He tweeted, "It was great news that British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been moved out of intensive care." Britain has reported a record 786 new COVID-19 deaths in its daily update, taking the death toll to 6,159. So far, 55,242 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in the United Kingdom. International Monetary Fund, or IMF, said that this year 2020 could see the worst global economic fallout since the Great Depression in the 1930s, with over 170 countries likely to experience negative per capita income growth due to the raging coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on Thursday for the Security Council to unite in its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The UN Secretary General has called it the fight of a generation and the raison d'etre, which means reason for existence of the United States itself. Members of the UN Security Council have expressed their support for all efforts of the Secretary General concerning the potential impact of COVID-19 to conflict-affected countries and recall the need for unity and solidarity with all those affected. Well, here's a special message for protection against novel coronavirus from our hearing-impaired friends. In a time when precaution is the best cure, it becomes vital for everyone to practice effective precautions. Well, that's all we have time for. But remember, stay safe, stay indoors, stay positive. Bye-bye.